Okay, last talk of the day. We won't take too much more of your time. And then fun happy hour. I know I need to make my bracelets and do the photo booth. I hope someone wants to do the photo booth with me. I love photo booths, so I could be there the whole rest of the happy hour. So John and I are just going to do a little bit more of an intimate fireside about SheFi, kind of give you an insider's perspective since we're fiancés. And I thought no one better to host this conversation than someone who sees what goes on behind the scenes. So I'll turn it over to John to facilitate some questions. And then please feel free to ask me any questions that you want about SheFi. And before I forget, just thank you to our sponsors, thank you to our speakers, thank you to our event planners, thank you to the SheFi team, thank you to our amazing designer, Alyssa May, for cutting all this plywood and painting it and putting it up here. So a lot goes into crafting this day, and we do it because we really care about all of you and making sure you have a wonderful experience. And thank you for showing up. So just sometimes at the end of the day, my brain's already on the champagne, so I forget. So wanted to get that out of the way.
Looking forward to keeping this kind of casual and intimate. I know it's the end of the day, and we're all low on brain cells. Maggie, at the beginning when you opened, you talked about doubt, you talked about failure, you talked about turning that into a success. Tell me about the success SheFi has had. You don't like bragging, but I want to hear it, and then I want to hear what's in store for SheFi going forward.
Yes, I was realizing I left that whole entire part out of my beginning speech. And SheFi has had a lot of incredible success. So SheFi started in 2019. In 2020, I ran a small, intimate, private cohort with some of my fellow consensus friends who are here in the audience, proof of concepting SheFi. In 2020, during lockdown, we called it a date with SheFi because no one was going outside. And I just gathered all my non-crypto native friends, and they invited their friends, and that was really great because they were like, this is amazing. And I was like, okay, I'm good at teaching, cool, this is great. Not my consensus friends being like, you're good, but people who actually don't know anything about the space. And SheFi kind of had steady growth over the years, and then in 2022, we really started seeing massive growth. And fast forward a bit, even in the bear market last year, both of our cohorts had over 500 women in it. And I thought that was pretty impressive. And a lot of personal emails go out to making sure people sign up for the cohort. So it was a lot of work in that bear market. Like I said, a lot of people were like, I don't know, got burned by these NFTs. I'm not really feeling the vibe. But that's been incredible. And we've had amazing sponsors for our SheFi summits in Paris, in Istanbul. We had amazing sponsors here today. And we have Zerion sponsoring our 10th cohort, which 500 women have already signed up for, which is incredible. Yeah, and I would say a big difference between when I started fundraising for SheFi and what I'm noticing now is now sponsors are coming to me. And that's a really big difference. And for a little bit of insight, Polygon, I won't say who, saw me working on my slides at ETH Lisbon or LizCon in 2021. And they were like, whoa, these are really good slides. And I was like, do you want to sponsor SheFi? I'll create content about you. And this was one of their senior level people. And it actually took me a year, that was October 2021, of basically DMing him every single week, being like, hey, you said you wanted to work with me. Now, we have a bit of a personal relationship, so that PPP, right, the plant, was someone I felt really comfortable bothering every week because he was like, you need to bother me every week, I'm a busy guy. So he gave me that permission to do that. But, sometimes these things take time, and last year PayPal came in the 9th inning, to use a baseball term, but that very last minute, and there's a lot of stress involved in that, was I gonna have to do a cohort without any funding? And I was still gonna do it, but it would just be, a bit more stressful on me personally. And now the tune has totally changed. So it's been very rewarding to see that through consistent work and effort over the past 5 years, and being willing to go out and ask for money when it's tough and keep hosting events and running cohorts, that people do finally recognize what you're building, and they do see the impact. It might take them a bit longer, but that's a really big, I think it feels really good to me that now people are coming to me and they're like, you have built something that we need and we want and we believe that education is really important, and we want access to this community. So the tables have definitely turned. So we've seen a lot of success even through that bear market, and it was worth it because when you build in the bear, you're totally prepared for the bull market and the energy coming back into the space.
So I think most people here are familiar with the cohort and, of course, with SheFi Summit, but you've got a ton more irons in the fire and more revenue lines. Like, tell me everything else you're working on and what SheFi is going to look like in the future.
Yes, so also really exciting is now that I have this content, I think another great thing about SheFi is I did start with a product. I started with a course. I think there's many ways to bring people together and to impact change, and they're all great. But I think something really easy is that, like, I always had product market fit first. I had a course. There was not women learning about crypto in 2019. I was going to bring them into the space. And that has proved really beneficial in ways I hadn't imagined. So companies like Lens and Aave have actually licensed my content for new employee onboarding, and that's really something we're looking at. So I'm going to talk with another big company, can't name who, about that. I'm teaching at Fidelity, who has the Bitcoin ETF for my second year in a row. And so those are really lines we're looking at, and even potentially looking at a little bit of async content on a go at your own platform, but still keep the live cohort and the community experience for women and non-binaries. But now that the content's there, really thinking about growth and sustainability, right? So making sure that the hours I put in equal growth that is sustainable to make sure we can keep delivering these experiences. And the last thing we're really growing in is our career support. So we are going to partner with a freelance recruiter who's from SheFi, she's amazing, and really help all of our community members make sure their resumes look good before they get to the referral. So right now, as you guys know, you post in the Discord a job, someone says I like it, I say send me an email, paragraph, resume, I'll forward it on. But I don't look at your resume, I don't look at any of this stuff, I just go, hey, this is a SheFi member, she's amazing, she's engaged, you should hire her. So we're gonna try to fix and streamline that process, and that will also be a new revenue line because I have referred people to very big companies, and the money really doesn't matter, that's not it, but when I know they're paying people, I'm like, okay, wait. It would be nice to get some of that. So really creating a very equitable partnership with this recruiter that she feels good about. And so that will be a new revenue line as well. We have a lot of resumes. If you don't have yours uploaded into the talent portal, which is just an Airtable right now, you should do it. But we'll be fixing all of that. So really working with corporates in a variety of ways, either live teaching or licensing content, recruiting, and continuing our cohorts and events, and maybe putting content in some other go at your own pace for people that want to access the content, but live cohorts aren't their thing, or they hear about it in an off month, or they're not a woman and so they can't join this type of experience, but maybe they want to learn a bit about crypto.
So to give y'all in the audience what it's like living with Maggie and being around her 24/7, I mean, I think you see a lot of, disco queen. She comes out, she's lights up the room. She's very bubbly. Behind the scenes, one of the most intense people I've ever met in my entire life. I can't tell you the number of times I've woken up in the middle of the night to a keyboard tapping, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and she's just grinding away. And it'd be interesting for you to express where do you get this intensity from? I mean, you go hard for SheFi. She doesn't take days off. She doesn't even take minutes off.
I don't know if SheFi always feels like work, so that's another thing as well. And I think to me it's a game of oh, this new jargon came out around a ZK proof. Okay, well, how can we make that accessible? My brain's always going. My newsletter this morning was called My Greatest Sin, the 7 deadly sins. It's gluttony. I'm an Enneagram 7. Won't go into that now, but check out the newsletter. And that's busyness is something I have a tendency towards. But really what motivates me for SheFi is I do believe that this technology is life-changing in one specific way. And if you do all the other stuff, amazing. But the fact that every woman on this planet, 4 billion, could have a bank account that only she has access to drives me every single day. I'm very much about financial empowerment, and I think that every woman should be this financially sovereign person. And even if it's $5, it doesn't have to be Bitcoin or Ethereum or a volatile asset, it can be a stable coin. But I think there's nothing more empowering than you having one wallet with all of your finances. And I think every woman on the planet deserves that and deserves that knowledge. And that's really what keeps me moving forward. Our old phrase is financial freedom is feminine. It's definitely about that. Now we're talking about the frontier being feminine. But it's really that. And I'd say the second thing that really motivates me is we already know what the world looks like. This is not meant in a demeaning way. When men architect everything. Our 9-to-5 schedules, our technology, like these Aura rings that are sending our private period data to corporations, like people not thinking about like what it's like to be embodied as a feminine person, right? So I'm just like, we have this new era where the technology is still being built, and yes, it feels like a lot is being shaped by men, but it's not the end of the story. And so, like, what does this whole world look like with more femininity built into every single part of it? And the ways we work, and the ways our technology looks like, and the ways we're thinking about privacy really does matter. And like all these privacy protocols not targeting women, I'm like, what are you doing? So I think that really drives me too, is I want to make sure women can get into roles where they're contributing to the space. SheFi really did start as like, let's learn DeFi, but now it's really like, let's give you the language, let's give you the technical understanding to what you need and the practice to let you so you can get hired at a company, and then you hire more women, and then it's just this thing that continues to reverberate, and then maybe you become an investor, and then you actually have financial power to back women. So I'm hoping through this like small niche of like crypto, we can really have this like ripple effect, and we're really actually shaping, moving money, and creating a world that has like more of the feminine experience in every single part of it. So those are the two things: bank accounts for all women, and just like the world looks like the way we experience it. And I think we'd all agree that's something that's much needed.
SheFi is a big part of SheFi is reinvention, right? Kind of the option of reinventing yourself. Like, what does it look like to be able to help people reinvent themselves?
Yeah, I think because it's a long day, I'm like feeling the emotions come up in my face. But a really pivotal moment for SheFi was I basically taught 2 virtual cohorts from 2019 to 2020. And the beginning of 2021, we had our first my friends cohort. 30 women signed up from Twitter. I was like, this is cool. I didn't even know people followed my Twitter. And we got to do our first meetup in New York City because we could go out in public again. And we were all just sharing stories. And a woman came up to me, I won't share her name, and she told the table, and she was like, I'm in my mid-40s, and SheFi was the first time anybody had ever told me and showed me that I could reinvent myself. And to tell you the story, I was able to divorce my husband. She had a very non-traditional crypto job, making no money, was able to get a job in crypto, divorce her husband, and pay for her daughter's childcare who has special needs. And like, I immediately started crying. And it's not about divorce. That's not the moral of the story. But the fact that through education, you can actually totally change your life. You can get that financial security from a new job that allows you to have the freedom and autonomy you deserve, and to take care of your children, and to do what you want to do. So that's what I hope beyond just like, hey, we're coming to class, we're gonna have some music, we're gonna do our best to intake a lot of information. I really hope people do see it as like, I believe that you can reinvent yourselves. I believe that I can reinvent myself. I didn't have a finance background, and I was like, I'm gonna learn DeFi, and I'm gonna teach other people. So that's a really important thread, and that was one story that early on maybe be like, I must do this until infinity. Even if 5 women only sign up for my cohort ever, the fact that one woman gets to totally change her life and is just amazing. And she's still very active in SheFi and just an amazing person. So building those relationships too, and watching that journey and sharing my journey with you is all a part of that reinvention.
Yeah, I love that story. Maybe we'll end it on, I'm feeling very fired up. I feel like the rest of the room is too. I want to get involved with SheFi. What are 1 or 2 things that I can do?
You can continue to moderate conversations with me, and you can continue to be my fiance. Yeah, if you're here in the audience or you're meeting other women and non-binary folks out at ETH Denver, definitely let them know about SheFi. You're all amazing. You refer people all the time. Referrals are our biggest growth. It means so much to me. I know all of your names that refer, like you're imprinted in my brain. I take that very to heart, so I really appreciate it. And so what you can do is if you're not in SheFi, cohort 10 starts March 5th. Not only do you get this learning experience, 13 weeks, 3 hours of class, we're actually upgrading it even more. We're gonna put like bots in Discord for those on-chain quests. You can earn all these points. We're building out a whole point system for the SheFi ecosystem. And so we're really doing a lot of work to make it super engaging and interactive now that I'm full-time. So that'll be really fun. But beyond just the fact that you get this cohort experience, you'll get discounts to events like this. You will get access to that career support. You will meet women not only in your local region, we have 26 chapter leads, but from all over the world. So we have like an intros bot that pairs you at your time intervals, once a month, once a week, every 2 weeks. There's a woman in SheFi who joined season 9 who's met 90 SheFi members. So there's like a lot of incredible things you can learn. Like in this audience, I know there's people from all ages of their journeys, and if you get to meet them, you're gonna learn something from them. So that's really what you'll get in SheFi. So I would highly encourage you joining. If you're like, I don't need classes, you can still join the community. We have plenty of scholarship spots. You won't be taking it away from someone else. We make sure that we're good on that. And you can really just start to build these relationships and co-create this space, right? Layla was talking about these spaces. This space can exist. It's just that men haven't imagined this space existing, so they haven't created it. Well, when we're in charge, we can imagine all kinds of new spaces existing. So come join us in SheFi. Tell your friends, tell your moms. My mom's gonna take SheFi. Chris Comrie's mom, Joan, is gonna take SheFi from Favor. Moms are allowed to join. I know Layla has had her daughters listening in. A lot of people have their teenage daughters listening in. Like this can be a whole inclusive space for everyone. So definitely sign up. Come find us at Regenlandia. Thank you to everyone who's volunteered to man the booth. I'll be there hanging out, walking around as well. And just let people know if you've found this experience one you've enjoyed. And since you're all still here, that's great. I really do appreciate it. And I do think this is something we're doing together. So I'm just excited to keep doing it with you. So thank you to everyone. If I didn't say thank you, I do mean thank you, and we'll make sure to say thank you in our follow-up to this. And before we get into the fun of having a little drink, we do have to be out by 7, so just a little like happy hour. I think Jules wants to do an update on quests, and I know she said 10 posters, but we have like a lot of posters, so we can give away like more posters. So probably since you're still here, you can get a beautiful Frontiers Feminine poster. Alyssa May, is Alyssa May in here? Stand up. Woo! She designs everything you see, so I think, you know, she's a very crucial part of SheFi. So yeah, give her a round of applause. It's really fun. I'll just end it with saying a little bit more thank you to Alyssa, because she's been my partner in crime, like since I started SheFi in 2019. Like I was designing Instagram stuff. It was, I can show you. You can grow a lot by finding the right people. She does every single image you've ever seen for SheFi, and I'm very particular about the vibe and it standing out and being something different, and she executes phenomenally. But so thank you to that, and thank you to Jules for the quest. Susie's somewhere here. Thank you for helping with the advisor. That's kind of like the core team. And Brett, our amazing event planner. If she's in here, you can give her a round of applause. And Brandon and the whole AV team, everyone, I just really thank you. It's been a gorgeous day. So Jules, why don't you come give some updates on the points and the quests, and who's gonna maybe walk away with some merch and who's gonna walk away with some chipped nails.